Start by exploring the concept of loss aversion. This is a psychological phenomenon where people feel the pain of losing something much more intensely than the pleasure of gaining something of equal value. Imagine finding $20 on the street, exciting, right? But if you lost $20, the disappointment would likely outweigh your previous joy. This tendency affects our decisions in everyday life, often making us more cautious or even irrational when faced with potential losses. Understanding loss aversion is the first step to recognizing how it shapes our choices and behaviors. Loss aversion was first introduced by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in the late 1970s. Their research showed that people tend to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. This insight became a cornerstone of behavioral economics, challenging the traditional idea that humans always act rationally. Kahneman and Tversky's experiments revealed that our fear of losing is deeply rooted and often overrides logical thinking. Their work has since influenced countless studies and practical applications in economics, marketing, and beyond. Loss aversion isn't just a theory, it's something we encounter daily. For instance, think about a store offering a discount for early payment versus a penalty for late payment. Studies show that people are more motivated to avoid the penalty than to earn the discount, even though the financial outcome is the same. This demonstrates how the fear of losing money can drive our decisions, sometimes more than the opportunity to gain. Recognizing these patterns can help us make more balanced choices. Investors often fall prey to loss aversion. When the stock market dips, many people panic and sell their investments to avoid further losses, even if holding on might be the wiser choice. This behavior can lead to missed opportunities for gains when the market rebounds. The emotional weight of seeing a portfolio shrink can be overwhelming, causing investors to act against their long-term interests. Understanding loss aversion can help investors stay calm and make more rational decisions. Loss aversion is closely linked to the endowment effect, which is our tendency to value things more highly simply because we own them. For example, people often demand more money to sell an item they own than they would be willing to pay to buy it. This happens because giving up something feels like a loss, and our aversion to loss makes us overvalue our possessions. The endowment effect is a powerful illustration of how loss aversion shapes our perceptions and action. Marketers often use loss aversion to influence consumer behavior. Limited time offers, countdown timers, and phrases like "don't miss out" tap into our fear of losing an opportunity. These tactics make us more likely to act quickly, sometimes without fully considering our options. By understanding how loss aversion works, we can become more mindful shoppers and avoid falling for pressure tactics that exploit our natural tendencies. Negotiations, loss aversion can play a significant role. People are often more focused on what they might lose in a deal than on what they could gain. This can lead to stubbornness or reluctance to compromise, even when a mutually beneficial agreement is possible. Recognizing this bias can help negotiators approach discussions more objectively and find solutions that benefit everyone involved. Loss aversion doesn't just affect our financial decisions, it also influences our relationships. Sometimes people stay in unhealthy relationships because the fear of losing what they have outweighs the potential benefits of moving on. This emotional bias can keep us stuck in situations that aren't good for us. Being aware of loss aversion can empower us to make healthier choices in our personal lives. Our aversion to loss often makes us risk-averse. We might avoid taking chances even when the odds are in our favor simply because the possibility of losing feels too threatening. This can limit our growth and prevent us from seizing valuable opportunities. By understanding how loss aversion shapes our attitude toward risk, we can learn to take calculated risks that lead to personal and professional development. Athletes and coaches are not immune to loss aversion. In sports, the fear of losing can sometimes overshadow the desire to win. Teams might play defensively to protect a lead instead of taking bold actions to secure a victory. This cautious approach can backfire, as playing not to lose is often less effective than playing to win. Recognizing loss aversion in sports can help teams develop better strategies and a winning mindset. Health decisions are also influenced by loss aversion. People may avoid necessary medical tests or treatments because they fear bad news or potential side effects. This avoidance can lead to worse outcomes in the long run. By understanding our tendency to focus on potential losses, we can make more informed and proactive choices about our health and well-being. Students and educators alike experience loss aversion. For example, students may avoid challenging subjects or assignments because they fear failure more than they desire success. Teachers might hesitate to try new teaching methods, worried about losing control or effectiveness. Recognizing this bias can help create a more supportive and innovative learning environment. When it comes to adopting new technology, loss aversion can make us hesitant. We might worry about losing familiar routines or the time invested in learning something new. This reluctance can slow down progress and prevent us from benefiting from technological advancements. By being aware of this bias, we can approach new tools and systems with a more open mind. Business leaders often face tough choices, and loss aversion can cloud their judgment. Companies may stick with outdated products or strategies because abandoning them feels like admitting defeat. This can lead to missed opportunities and stagnation. By recognizing the influence of loss aversion, businesses can make more strategic decisions and adapt to changing markets. Change can be difficult, and loss aversion often makes it harder. Whether it's moving to a new city, starting a new job, or ending a habit, the fear of losing what's familiar can hold us back. This resistance to change is a natural response, but understanding it can help us embrace new opportunities with greater confidence and less anxiety. Policymakers are also influenced by loss aversion. When designing laws or regulations, they may focus more on preventing losses than on promoting gains. This can result in overly cautious policies that stifle innovation or progress. By balancing the desire to avoid losses with the potential for positive change, policymakers can create more effective and forward-thinking solutions. Our memories are shaped by loss aversion too. We tend to remember losses more vividly than gains, which can influence our future decisions. This bias can make us overly cautious or pessimistic, especially if we've experienced significant setbacks in the past. Being aware of this tendency can help us put past losses in perspective and approach new situations with a more balanced outlook. Social media platforms often exploit loss aversion by creating a fear of missing out or FOMO. Notifications, limited time content, and streaks encourage us to stay engaged so we don't lose our place or miss updates. This taps into our natural aversion to loss and can lead to compulsive behaviors. Understanding this can help us use social media more mindfully. Gambling is a classic example of loss aversion in action. After losing money, gamblers often continue playing in hopes of recovering their losses, a behavior known as chasing losses. This can lead to even greater losses and emotional distress. Recognizing the role of loss aversion can help individuals make healthier choices and avoid the pitfalls of gambling addiction. Insurance companies rely on loss aversion to sell their products. The fear of losing valuable possessions or facing unexpected expenses motivates people to buy insurance, sometimes even when the risk is low. This demonstrates how powerful the fear of loss can be in driving our purchasing decisions and shaping entire industries. Auctions are designed to trigger loss aversion. As bidding intensifies, participants fear losing out on an item and may bid more than they originally intended. This competitive environment can lead to overpaying, all because the pain of losing feels greater than the satisfaction of winning. Understanding this dynamic can help us make more rational decisions in competitive situations. Customer loyalty programs often leverage loss aversion. For example, losing accumulated points or status can feel like a significant loss, motivating customers to keep buying from the same brand. This strategy keeps people engaged and coming back, even if better options are available elsewhere. Being aware of this can help us make more objective choices as consumers. Time is another area where loss aversion comes into play. We often stick with activities or commitments simply because we've already invested time, even if they're no longer rewarding. This is known as the sunk cost fallacy. Recognizing this can help us let go of unproductive pursuits and focus on what truly matters. The anticipation of regret is a powerful motivator. We often avoid making decisions that could lead to regret, even if the potential benefits outweigh the risks. This fear of future loss can keep us from taking action or trying new things. By understanding this aspect of loss aversion, we can learn to manage regret and make more courageous choices. Creativity can be stifled by loss aversion. The fear of wasting time or resources on ideas that might not work can prevent us from experimenting or taking creative risks. However, innovation often requires embracing uncertainty and accepting the possibility of failure. By overcoming loss aversion, we can unlock our creative potential and explore new possibilities. Procrastination is often linked to loss aversion. We might delay starting a task because we fear the effort or discomfort involved, focusing more on what we might lose, like free time or comfort, than on what we could gain. Recognizing this can help us push past avoidance and take action, leading to greater productivity and satisfaction. Groups are not immune to loss aversion. In team settings, the fear of making a wrong choice can lead to indecision or overly cautious strategies. This can slow down progress and stifle innovation. By fostering open communication and encouraging calculated risks, groups can overcome loss aversion and achieve better outcomes together. Receiving feedback can trigger loss aversion, especially if it's negative. We may focus more on criticism than on praise, feeling the sting of loss more acutely. This can make us defensive or resistant to improvement. By reframing feedback as an opportunity for growth, we can overcome this bias and develop more resilient mindsets. Good news is that we can learn to manage loss aversion. By becoming aware of this bias, we can pause and reflect before making decisions, considering both the potential losses and gains. Practicing mindfulness, seeking diverse perspectives, and focusing on long-term goals can help us make more balanced choices and reduce the influence of loss aversion in our lives. Summary: loss aversion is a powerful force that shapes our decisions, often leading us to avoid losses more than we pursue gains. It influences our behavior in countless ways, from shopping and investing to relationships and creativity. By understanding and addressing this bias, we can make wiser choices, embrace new opportunities, and lead more fulfilling lives. Remember, the fear of losing is natural, but it doesn't have to control your decision.